You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon, welcome back. Today is Friday, 8th day of November, 2024. Guys, I apologize for the opening, that whole thing that happened earlier in the week that got my resolutions all out of whack. Don't think I'm not trying to fix it. I am. Anyway, we're live now. How about that? Thanks so much for joining us, whoever you are, wherever you are. We're just glad to have you right here, right now. This is our second live broadcast of the day. We do 2 every trading day. Now the first one, that's our live training room. So in order to get into that broadcast, you have to be a member or you have to be taking the 1-week free trial. No credit card required. In fact, when Michael joins us in about 50 minutes, he will show you step by step how to take the free trial. It's really very simple. And we'll get you indicators indicating today so you can get familiar with them over the weekend. And then your trial will officially start Monday morning at the Wall Street Open and will continue until next Friday afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern. Now we actually go to work Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern. That's when we start sending out alerts because the futures market, Wall Street doesn't open till 9:30 Monday morning, but the futures market, the Monday session begins, the Globex session it's called, begins Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern, and we start sending out alerts as opportunity presents. Now, if you sign up for the trial today, you're going to get an info packet. In that info packet, it will explain to you how to get on Telegram if you're not already on Telegram, and it will give you the links that you'll have access to on your trial where you can talk with our current members and you'll be able to see the alerts as they come out. Okay? All right. Now, when the live training room ends each day at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, we take a 30-minute break and come back for the afternoon broadcast. This broadcast, which, unlike the morning broadcast, is open to the public. Everybody everywhere on planet Earth with an internet-connected device. Now, there's 2 different ways to join this afternoon broadcast live. The best way, you only have to do it once. Go to mytradingiq.com, scroll down to where it says Noon Broadcast. Click the link, fill out the 30-second registration form. You're done. It's going to log you into our platform the day you do it. But more importantly, every trading day going forward, you'll get an email about an hour before this broadcast starts. In that email, there is a link. At 12 noon Eastern, all you have to do is click the link in the email and it will automatically log you into our platform. This way you have access to the question box. Now, there will be days you're out of the office, away from your desktop, but you still want to join live. And there'll be days when you're busy, can't join live, but need to get caught up later. You can do both of those via our YouTube channel. It's very easy to remember. youtube.com/CFRN. That's the Christian Financial Radio Network since spring of 2005. But you don't have to remember all that. You already know the YouTube part. Just remember youtube.com/CFRN. Not only do we broadcast live on our YouTube channel every trading day as we're doing right now. Actually, we're simulcasting. Big word, just means we're broadcasting in two different locations. But we also archive each and every daily broadcast. Currently, there are over 2,600 daily episodes archived for your educational and viewing pleasure. Now, our schedule every day, most days, 90% of the time, we start with our daily devotional, word of prayer, some news, some alerts, the recap of the alerts. Then about 50 minutes into the broadcast, Michael will join us, give us a recap of what happened in the live training room this morning. Then we'll do some live trading on the TradingView platform for a half hour. And then I'll wrap things up with our good word for the day. Now we are starting a new devotional topic today. This will be the first day of 3. The title, Goodbye Hiding, Hello Freedom. Today's scripture, Psalm 145, verses 8 through 9, and I'm going to share with you from the Message translation. God is all mercy and grace, not quick to anger, is rich in love. God is good to one and all. Everything he does is soaked through with grace. Again, Psalm 145, verses 8 through 9. So on day 1 of this topic, we're going to talk about freedom from your past. And we need to talk about our past. Now, I'm going to share with you from someone else's life a conversation I dreaded having at one point in my life. My now husband, Ryan, and I were dating and things were getting serious, heading toward what looked like an engagement. There were obvious conversations we needed to have, one of them obviously being our pasts. We each knew bits and pieces of each other's history, but I had never actually gotten into the details of my past with anyone, even myself. It was an area that I avoided with every fiber of my being, but one that I knew if I wanted the future God had for me, I needed to face the past that haunted me. Now, some of you may identify with that. And it might not have to do with getting married. It might have to do with the job. It might have to do with your ministry. So the question is, for all of us, how do we deal with our past in a way that can bring healing and freedom? Well, first, we must understand what is holding us back from freedom when it comes to this area. We have to understand shame. It's a powerful tool of the enemy. If I could give the Spark Notes version, shame entered the garden in Genesis 3 when Adam and Eve ate of the forbidden tree, going against God's command for them. Once they made that decision, making them realize they were naked and exposed, they turned away from God instead of running to Him. When we hide from God, we experience shame. Running away from God produces shame. Running to God produces freedom. Our direction dictates our freedom. Something that I always taught my kids growing up is I said, when you do something wrong, when you make a mistake, I don't want you to think, oh man, Dad's going to kill me for this. I want the first thought that pops into your head to be, I got to call Dad. He'll know how to handle this. See the difference? The problem with shame is that it doesn't just fixate on what we've done. It convinces us that what we've done is actually who we are. It's a lie attacking our truest identity. So this shame, what can we do with it? And how can we get our freedom back? Friend, we need to go back to our past. I know, it feels hard, scary, painful, and a million other things. But I have good news for you. You don't have to go back to the past with the enemy. For years, this is why I never could find freedom from my past. It's because I was going back with the wrong voices. I was going with the enemy. When we go back with him, the master of lies, he will continue to keep us replaying the same old mistakes over and over again with no relief in sight. No, let's not go back with him. Instead, let's go back with Jesus. The enemy wants to take us back to relive. Jesus wants to take us back to redeem. He can be trusted with the most vulnerable, delicate parts of you without putting you to shame. Scripture tells us that he is gracious, compassionate, slow to anger, and full of mercy. Psalm 145:8. So if you want freedom, go back with Jesus and let him do what he's best at, taking the hardest moments of our past and redeeming them in a way that only he can. He will redeem spaces, friendships, memories, hometowns, fatherhood, motherhood, family, and more. You name it, Jesus can redeem it. So I have a couple of questions for you. What are some of the ways that you have let shame keep you from freedom? Are there areas of your life that you would like to see Jesus move in and redeem? If so, what are those areas? Get a pen and pad. Write it down. Sometimes when we get this jumble of stuff going on in our head, when we get it down in black and white in front of us, it doesn't seem so chaotic. We can actually begin to see a plan to fix whatever the issue is. Last question. Who is one safe person you could have a conversation with about the details of your past? Now be very careful who you pick as this safe person. I was listening to one of my favorite podcasts yesterday, Unashamed. It's the Robertson family. You've heard me talk about them and that podcast many times. I really enjoy it. They talked about church hurt, how many people, many Christians, most Christians have been hurt by the church. Sometimes by other members, sometimes by leadership. So when you pick this one safe person to work through the details of your past so that Jesus can redeem you, be careful who you pick, okay? In fact, this week, I encourage you to take some time to write out some moments of your past that feel painful to you. Spend some time in prayer over these memories, asking Jesus to show you where he was in them and to redeem them in ways that only he can. And then watch what he does. Pray with me. Heavenly Father, we come before you today in awe of your boundless love and compassion. Your word in Psalm 145 reminds us that you are gracious and compassionate, slow to anger and rich in love. The Lord is good to all. He has compassion on all he has made. Father, we thank you for your unending grace and mercy that sustains us every day. And Lord, help us to reflect your character in our lives, showing kindness and patience to those around us. May we remember your goodness and share your compassion with others, trusting in your faithful care. Let our hearts be ever grateful for your love that never fails. It's in Jesus' name we believe and pray. And everybody said, amen. Amen and happy Friday. Everybody's been working for the weekend, and here it is. Let me give you the numbers from around the world. We're going to start here in the U.S. with the cash markets, or the indices as they're called. Let me pull in some fresh data. The Dow up 248 points. Wow, that's really something. I mean, it's not a lot for the Dow, but yesterday, and you'll see it when we go to the charts, that thing was a snooze fest for over 24 hours. The NASDAQ is down 16 points. S&P 500 is up 19. And the Russell 2000, our man in the street, is up 6 points. In the commodity basket, crude oil down $2.11, trading 70.26 last. That's a drop of almost 3%, or $2,100 per contract traded. Gold is down $11.80, trading 26.94 last. Oh, silver, you're breaking my heart, down 38 cents, trading 31.47 last. That's a drop of almost 1.25%. Remember, when silver moves $1 in price, that's worth $5,000 per contract traded. In the Asian markets at the close, the Nikkei posted a gain of 118 points. The Shanghai fell 18. The Hang Seng dropped 225 points, a little over 1%. And And in the European markets at the close, FTSE down 68, almost 1%. The DAX down 147, and the CAC down 86. And for the CAC, that's a drop of almost 1.25%. So we had a mixed day in Asia. It was a red day for the UK. And it's a mixed Radio Friday here in the US of A. But the only one in the red is the NQ, and it's only down 9 points. And 9 points is practically nothing for the NQ, the NASDAQ. So I suspect by the time we end this broadcast today, the NQ will be in the green. Yeah, it just dropped another point, or gained another point. Okay. Gold is poised for its biggest weekly fall in over 5 months on the strength of the dollar. Ugh, I guess it's time to get into the news. Now, Australia. They don't mess around in Australia. I've been there as a young man. I was in the Navy. Been to Sydney, and gosh, I can't think of the other place I went. But anyway, Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese announced legislation yesterday to ban social media for children under the age of 16. The proposed law, set to be introduced in Parliament in the coming weeks, would require platforms including Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and X to bar access to children and teenage users. There are no exceptions for parental consent. If approved, companies would have 12 months to implement blocking measures or face potential fines. Albanese said the platforms would bear responsibility with no penalties for users, arguing the ban is necessary due to social media's harmful effect on young people's mental health. We know that teenage suicide rates are the highest they've ever been. Critics contend an all-out ban will not work and argue that social media is a valuable tool for social support. Well, they pay those guys a lot of money. You know, the ones that argue the other side. About 95% of teens use some kind of social media, spending an average of 4.8 hours daily. Wow. 41% of high-use teens rate their mental health as poor or very poor. The U.S. Surgeon General has called for tobacco-style warning labels on social media platforms. Man, that's pretty strong. But you know what? I think it's a good idea. Now, kids are smart. They're going to figure ways to get around it, probably. But maybe some of them will just accept it and realize that it's for their own good. I hope they will. 95% of teens spend an average of 8 hours every day on some form of social media. Wow. Well, you all know by now that yesterday Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell announced a 0.25 percentage point cut in the benchmark rates, bringing the range to between 4.5% and 4.75%. A further cut is potentially slated for the committee's final meeting of the year in December. The FDA proposed removing an ingredient in common over-the-counter cold medicines from store shelves yesterday. Oral phenylephrine. I'd have probably skipped this news if I knew I had to pronounce that. Phenylephrine It is found in hundreds of cold medicines, including Benadryl, NyQuil, Mucinex, and Sudafed. Since coming to the market in the 1990s, it was thought to relieve congestion by reducing blood vessel swelling in nasal passages. Last year, however, an FDA advisory panel found the ingredient, while safe, is ineffective when administered orally. The medicines are widely popular, generating nearly $1.8 billion in sales for CVS and Walgreens in 2022. More than 50% of U.S. households used an oral decongestant over the past year. Now, I guess the good thing is nobody's going to get sick or get hurt from this, but you're putting some kind of chemical in your body that doesn't do any good. The FDA says the only way it works is if you get it in a nasal spray version. So let's go to market news. Here we go. U.S. stocks headed toward their best week of the year, with the Dow waking up and crossing the 44,000 level for the first time ever, to round out gains spurred by Donald Trump's White House victory, followed by the Federal Reserve's latest rate cut. Now, guys, this is a Goldilocks economy. When you give a party, at some point you got to pay the band. So be careful on the long side. I'm not saying we can't go higher, but you have to embrace all possibilities. At some point, the market will retrace. That's just how markets work. You get a leg, you get a retracement. Whether you're on a 1-minute chart or a monthly chart, that's just how it works. So the S&P is eyeing 6,000. We may have hit it. We're going to go to the charts in just a minute. Disappointment over China's new fiscal stimulus drew investor attention, putting pressure on Chinese stock and oil prices. The $1.4 trillion plan to refinance local government debt left investors unconvinced of its potential to spur a faltering economy. And with Trump back in the White House, he's going to crack down these tariffs. A lot of candidates, they make all kind of promises when they're campaigning, but as we've seen in the past, Trump keeps his promises, unless Congress gets in the way. We have the Senate wrapped up, but I think the House is still up for grabs the last time I checked. It would be the political trifecta to have the Oval Office, the Senate, and the House. President-elect Donald Trump has sent mixed signals for years on whether he would aim to fire or demote Fed Chair Jerome Powell when he re-enters the Oval Office next year. But Powell himself laid down a marker yesterday that he won't be going anywhere, even if Trump tries to fire him. The central bank chair said yesterday it's not permitted under the law. No, he said at another point in a press conference on the question of whether he would leave. So, it could be a point of conflict in the months ahead. Trump has signaled he may not be inclined to fire Powell, but has also maintained he has that power. For his part, Trump reiterated the idea of firing Powell in a 2020 news conference where he bluntly said, "I have the right to remove him." He added that he could also demote Powell from his position as chair, putting him in a regular position and putting somebody else in charge. At issue is Section 10 of the Federal Reserve Act. The law states that each member of the board shall hold office for 14 years unless sooner removed for cause by the president. Well, there you go. Now, We all know the Federal Reserve is a criminal cabal. So many people think it's part of the federal government because it's called the Federal Reserve. Well, that's why they named it that, so that people would think that. It's a privately owned corporation. If you've never read The Creature from Jekyll Island, Google it. You can get the free PDF. It's the true story of what happened, how the Federal Reserve got created. Thomas Jefferson warned us back when they were signing the Constitution. If you want to destroy America, create a central bank and see what happens. And so in the early 1900s, that's exactly what a group of very wealthy businessmen did. They took a train to Jekyll Island under the guise of fishing or duck hunting or something. And they cooked up this scheme where they would create this corporation, privately held, that would do the job of printing the money for the U.S. people, for America. That's back in the days when they actually printed the money. And they still print a little bit now, but as you know, it's mostly moving digits, or decimal points on a computer. And I think it was, now this part I may be getting slightly wrong, but I think it was right before Christmas, late at night. There was only enough people in the chambers to approve it, and that's how these very wealthy businessmen planned it. And they slid it under the door. They voted on it, and it became law. And that's why we're now in debt, $35 trillion. We can barely keep up with the interest payments. John F. Kennedy, he talked about abolishing the Federal Reserve. Well, we know what happened there. It's a true story. When Trump started talking about getting rid of the Federal Reserve, a couple days later, a shooter tried to take him out. So, it's a criminal banking cabal, and it should be done away with. The way the Constitution was originally written, the United States Treasury should print the money and not loan it to the American people, because it's the American people's money. You got to read the book, The Creature from Jekyll Island. It will blow your mind. And this was signed into law over 100 years ago. Bernie Sanders did not run for president in 2024, but he was a specter haunting the Democratic candidate, Kamala Harris, and probably contributed to her drubbing by Donald Trump. Democrats are in shock and disarray as they try to figure out how their candidate lost to a convicted felon with a long history of demeaning women, minorities, Muslims, and other important voting blocs. Lie after lie after lie. Finally, the American people saw through the lies. For the last decade, Democrats have been trying to span a chunk of the electorate that ranges from the super liberal to center right. But the rubber band isn't that flexible. Democrats, who court America's most liberal voters, typically dubbed progressives, alienate the moderates and mild conservatives they need to win national elections. So they're trying to blame it on Biden. Everybody's pointing the finger at everybody else. Doesn't matter. He won. Let's get on with making America great again. One nation, under God. The one true God. Americans are feeling increasingly better about the short-term path for inflation. The latest consumer sentiment survey from the University of Michigan revealed that consumers expect inflation to sit at 2.6% in a year, a decrease from last month's expectation of 2.7%. November's reading is the lowest since December of 2020, and within the 2.3% to 3% range seen in the 2 years before the pandemic. Expectations for long-run inflation did tick higher, rising to 3.1% from 3% the month prior. The overall consumer sentiment index popped to a reading of 73, up from 71 in October. Tesla just hit the $1 trillion market value. Tesla's market value breached the 1 trillion mark in a sharp rally today. Currently, Tesla's up $21.20 on the day. That's over 7%. On growing bets of a favorable treatment for CEO Elon Musk's companies in return for his support for President-elect Donald Trump in his poll campaign. I mean, think about it. Elon has technology. You guys saw that rocket take off and then land, and those robotic arms reached out and grabbed it like you would a little baby. Now those billions of dollars that went into building that rocket, you just pop in a new battery or however they do it. It's not a battery. You know, they gotta do some stuff. But the point is that thing can be used again and again. I don't know how many times, what the lifespan is, but you get my point. Elon is so smart, and I just love his mother. She was being interviewed by some reporter the other day, and I don't even remember what question he asked her. She said, "Well, let me just say one thing first." And the reporter goes, "Yes." She goes, "I come from a middle-class family." The reporter almost fell out of his chair. She said, I grew up in a middle-class family in Canada. She added the Canada part. Okay, and one last bit of news. Mike Mayo, the veteran analyst. My wife hates it when I say veteran. She goes, "It's veteran." Okay. Known for pointed opinions on the largest U.S. banks, the election of Donald Trump is nothing short of a sea change for the industry. As he sees it, a new era of deregulation could fuel a surge in Wall Street profitability. This has been one long, harsh regulatory cycle for banks. According to Wells Fargo's analyst, now the expectation is for a paradigm shift that prioritizes economics over politics. That's good news for all of us. Okay. Now let's get down to the nitty-gritty. If I can. Oh, there goes that resolution thing again. Okay. Logic 247, that's our 24/7 around-the-clock E-mini alert service. It's not just E-minis. It's crude, gold, silver, bonds. Over the last 327 weeks, we've issued over 18,300 individual handcrafted alerts. And what we've averaged on a weekly basis is 20% or less of the alerts being stopped out based on market structure and a very simple process that we teach all of our members in their one-on-one mentoring sessions. Now, Valerie did this recap this morning at 6:30 a.m. Eastern, so some things have changed. I issued some additional alerts since then. So this afternoon, she'll finalize the recap for the week. But at the time she did the recap this morning, we had issued 70 alerts since the markets opened this past Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern. 8 never triggered, still waiting on 8. 54 actionable alerts, of which 9 or 17% would have been stopped out, again based on market structure And the very simple process we teach all of our passport holders in their one-on-one mentoring sessions. Now, the logic alerts. Yeah, you can trade them, but that's not why I created them. I created them to help you learn how to read the chart. If you're ever going to become a consistently profitable trader, you got to know how to read a chart properly. And so the logic alerts, they have an entry price, an initial target, sometimes a second, a third, a fourth target, and a final trade to target. This helps you learn how to spot potential support, potential resistance, and find windows of opportunity. And the bonus is you can trade them and do okay as well. The logic alerts can come out anytime around the clock, 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. because futures trade around the clock and we have traders around the globe. Our day session is their night session and vice versa. Now, our original alert service, which is about twice as old as the logic alerts, they're called the concierge trade alerts, and they don't come out around the clock. They're posted shortly after the Globex open each evening. I had to run to the store last night, so the markets opened at 6 and I wasn't able to get them posted until 7 p.m. So that's a little later than normal. If you're a member or trial member, be sure and read this information up here. And if you don't understand something, ask, okay? Because it's important that you understand this. But what I want you to understand, those listening right now or after the fact, is that every one of our members and trial members had every one of these targets last night, 1 hour after the market opened. The ES, the Dow, the Russell, crude oil, the NQ, gold, silver, and bonds. Okay? All right. Let's go to the charts. And guess what? We got a new all-time historic high on the S&P. Let's see what it is. 6027. So we're going to grab this top fib just like that. And we're going to get as close to 6027 as we can. Okay. We're just 2 ticks above it. Perfect. So we've now spiked the 62% fib extension. Last night during the workshop, I changed the fib extensions. Went from this important low to the previous all-time historic high to the retracement low. And 14th century math shows us where we're most likely to find resistance. We're trying to overcome the 62% extension today, and the 100% is up at 61.96. So it's going to take a while to get there. And we may have a significant retracement before that happens. Now this green line, it's called the BBC, stands for Bull Bear Cross. When price crosses below the green line, we're bearish and expect lower prices. Above the green line, higher prices. Below the green line, lower prices. Above the green line, higher prices. You'll also notice that the pullback price always reverts to the mean, and in our case the mean is green and we call it the BBC, Bull Bear Cross. So the pullback held. See, the pullback held and the pullback held, but we know eventually it won't hold. So see how we traded through, but then we retraced and the pullback held, and then a leg and a retracement and the pullback held. What I'm trying to say is the pullback holds more often than it doesn't. Held here, 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 here. Then it didn't. Then we had an election. And now this is a big rally, big party, but just understand how wherever we go from this low to wherever it finally runs out of steam, we will retrace most likely at least 50%. Price always reverts to the mean, so that means we'll probably come back to the BBC. Okay, the alerts, the logic alerts, the concierge trade alerts, they're all created on a 30-minute chart. Nothing magic about 30 minutes. It's just the time frame I chose many years ago, and I've stayed with it because, well, if it's not broke, leave it alone. When price moves up to a weekly zone, we expect resistance until proven otherwise. So the vertical line separates today, Friday, Thursday, Wednesday. We ran right up to the zone, found resistance. There comes the retracement to the BBC, the pullback held. So then we get another leg and a retracement, leg and a retracement, leg and a retracement, leg and a retracement. See what I mean about the pullback holds more often than not? And then we had this candle here that actually got below the BBC, but it quickly reversed and went on to put in new all-time historic highs. So we hit the long target, and there was never any reason to entertain the short target because we never got below this important low right here. You see how price was dropping? And right as it got near those lows, buyers came in. Red and falling turned to blue and climbing. Red and falling is obviously bearish. Blue and climbing is bullish. And here we sit just at the target that was published last night at 7 p.m. Eastern. Okay. Now the Dow. Look at this snooze fest. It's unbelievable. Now these weekly zones are published Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Once they're published, they're carved in stone for the entire week. They don't change in any way whatsoever. So the Dow slept all of yesterday, and then it slept overnight. And then finally this morning at the Wall Street Open, it finally came back to life. We were about ready to call 911. But if you'll notice what's happening here, let me open this up so you can see it more clearly. You see the black step line on the way up. We had the perfect stack. Price, step line, blue and climbing, BBC. Okay. We hit the target, but now the step line is crossing from the left side to the right side of blue and climbing. Okay. What does that mean in plain English, Dwayne? It means price will most likely retrace to the BBC. And we know the pullback holds more often than not. And in order for us to consider the short target, price would have had to get below this zone and these lows. So it was never an issue. The Russell, another snooze fest. I'm just amazed. Election day they rallied. Wednesday they rallied, but yesterday nothing. Today, basically nothing. So I'm not going to try to make something out of nothing other than I will say we did get a little leg up and we pulled back to the BBC. But the snap line is directly above price. So we need to break this high. And that high is potential resistance. And that high is potential resistance. So the only long trade I would take on the ES right now would be 24.22 to 24.24. And that would be sufficient to give you your goal for the day. On the NQ. Last night in the workshop, one of our members, a new member, asked, how do I trade these long targets? I said, well, that's a great question. And I drew in these windows of opportunity. Okay. I knew that price would need to get below this low right here. And then that's room to get your goal for a couple days. You only need 5 points. The top of the window I drew was like, call it 63. Basically 60 points, $20 a point. Right there is $1,200 per contract trading. I also said that price would have to break this high before we would want to trade this window. And this high right here, it's basically the same high. Anytime we get a higher high or lower low by just a little bit, we don't trust it. And we're good not to trust it, because look what happened. We dropped below the BBC, but then what we do? We pulled back to it. Price always reverts to the mean. Now, with blue and climbing in the picture, this thing may rally into the close, or it may snooze into the close. We'll have to wait and see. Here's crude oil. Here's where we opened last night. We had red and falling overhead, so that pushed us below the BBC and below the zone. Then we had a retracement to the BBC and the zone. That's resistance times 2. When the market finds resistance, it's going to go look for support. It found support at this bullish cross. When you have a bullish cross, that's when the blue line gets above the green line. That leads to an extended move. The first time price revisits that area, it will almost always be good support. And you can see that that candle closed right on the bullish cross. However, we're below the BBC, so we're still expecting lower prices. So we get a lag and a retracement. Lag and a retracement. Both 1, 2, 3 pullbacks held. And then we dropped all the way down to this zone at 70.15/70.20. Support will send the market looking for resistance. It may find it at the zone above. It might make it all the way to the BBC. What should you do right now? Absolutely nothing. There's no tradable opportunity at the moment. Gold. Here's where we opened last night. We dipped below blue and climbing, which turned blue and climbing to red and falling. That took us below the BBC. So now we're below the BBC. We have red and falling. What do we expect? Lower prices. And we hit the short target, which was this low right here. See it? Trading is not easy, but it can be simple if you learn how to read a chart. That's the purpose of the logic alerts. Okay? So we hit the target, support, red and falling, turned to blue and climbing. We attempted a run higher. Okay? We almost got up to this area. I would have traded this long from here up to the target, but we didn't get there. All right, and there's only one market left, silver. We hit the short target, and we're slightly below the short target. Michael has arrived. He's going to give us a recap of what happened this morning in the live. We've got a new all-time historic high, Michael. I'm sure you already know that.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Woohoo! It's good stuff.
Okay, Michael's going to give us a recap of what happened in the live training room this morning. Then he'll do some live trading on TradingView for a half hour. Then I'll close things up with our good word for the day.
Excellent.
Okay. It looks
All right,
good.
here we go.
Yep.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Friday, the 8th day of November, 2024. Now, if you were to if you haven't taken a free trial with us, that's what I want to say. If you haven't taken a free trial with us, go here to mytradingiq.com. Click on the purple button right here. Now, there is no credit card required to take this trial. If you do it today, you have it over the weekend and all of next week. So click on that to take the free trial. It's going to bring you to this registration page that is all set up for next week. All you have to do is give us your name, your email, your phone number, fill out the multiple choice questions down here. If you have Ninja and you want to use Ninja, give us your machine ID. You want to use Ninja charts. If you have TradingView, give us your TradingView login ID. If you don't have TradingView, I'm going to recommend you get TradingView because we have stuff on TradingView that we don't have anywhere else. Critical stuff, like this guy down here, the TV trades range trigger. We only have that on TradingView. We don't have that on the other platforms. So I would recommend that you get that on your TradingView. Or get TradingView and get that on your charts. Whatever I need to say. Just do that. And then we'll be able to set your indicators up just like ours. Okay? Just like ours. Now, I said all that to say this today in the room today. If you're going to read the spreadsheet, you have to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today in the room, we did get our goal for the day. We're up 116 ticks on the NQ, minus 15 on the Russell, minus 47 on the YM, and plus 2 on the ES. So that put us at 295 on the morning session. Today, it took 6 minutes and 2 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up $1,265, and we took a total of 15 trades this morning. So on the month now, we're at $2,100. That's over 6 business days, averaging $350 per contract per 2-hour session. 2-hour session each and every morning. We've now gotten our goal on 210 out of 210 possible days so far this year. And we've gone now 7 days since our last non-green day, the 7 business days, and 371 business days since our last red day. So on the year, we're at $102,470, averaging $487 per contract per morning session. Today, we brought this number up a little bit, again, today and yesterday, because we got the goal early. These first 4 days of the month, I don't know what happened there, but this is what it should be like. 1 or 2 trades under 10 minutes. That's what it should be like. If you go back and look at historically, it is like that more often than it is not. Going back to June anyway. It is like that more often than it is not. But we've only had 1 day so far this month where we got on the first trade. Hopefully we'll get a lot more by the end of the month. We do have more holidays coming up this month too. So when do we have that? That's at the end of the month, right? The 3rd Thursday. That's the first, second, 3rd Thursday. When is Thanksgiving? Is it here or is it here? I don't know. Anybody? Anybody know what Thanksgiving is? I don't know which day of the month it is. It's usually the 3rd Thursday of the month, isn't it? I don't know about that. But anyway, we will have 2 days that we probably won't trade around Thanksgiving. The day before, or the day of Thanksgiving, the day after Thanksgiving, we probably won't trade. The 28th of Thanksgiving. Thank you, guys. Okay, so just so you know, that is probably, we're going to take the 28th and 29th off. And there'll probably be no partners meeting on the 28th. So we have 10, 11, 12, 13 days left. 13 business days left of the month. So that's a fair amount. You can get this number up. As long as we get it up above that number right there. That's the low of the year right there, is $58.20 per contract. And we should be able to do that pretty easily. All right, so the trades that we took, let's get in there. Now, I had all these things left from stuff that I was looking at the end of the session this morning. I was saying that this right here, if it's going to continue the trend over here, this is what it should do to finish the leg up. But it didn't extend right there through the top. So it did not continue that trend, and it reversed on us right here. Now, this reversal is 50% of that leg up right there. So this move down right here, that looks like, it gave you a really nice trade. Well, if it would have come out of the overbought, it would have been a really nice trade right there for the move down. Did come out of the overbought right here, but this right here, where it was a 50% retracement of that leg up, makes you wonder if it's going to keep going down right here, if it's just going to turn around and finish going up and do another leg like this one right here, which would mean it would go like this, like that. Okay, and put you up here around this time in the future. Up here. That's what it suggests. All right. I don't know what it's going to actually do, but, I've got my goal for the day. So I'm going to trade the rest of this, and then I'm going to be all done trading for today. We were looking at that on both of these markets here. We're looking for the move up to continue. And neither one of them actually did. They both kind of stopped where they were in the tracks at the end of the morning session. So now we'll wait and see what happens. But as of right now, we don't have a higher swing here, so we don't have a trade here on the yes. We did have a higher swing, but we don't right here, right now. From this trade right here, we don't have a higher swing, so we don't have anything going on there with the YM either. But let's get into the trades that we did take. We ended up negative on the YM this morning because we started out here with a stop out, and then we had another one right there that put us at -50. Then we got a +2 and a +1. That got us to -47. And that was where we ended it on the YM for today. Not a lot of opportunity today on the YM. I think there were a couple of trades that I missed. It was one right here that I missed, right here that I missed. One right in here that I missed. And that was it. I missed 2 trades. There was not a lot of opportunity on the YM this morning. Not on the 19 range. Now, if you were to drop this down, because there's not a lot of opportunity on the 19 range, if you drop it down to a 9 range, and stop is 15 ticks on the 9 range. But if you drop it down to a 9 range, it was probably a lot more opportunity on the 9 range. If you go all the way back here to the beginning of the session, where I was going short here and I stopped out, you would have had a long trade in here, right here. Would have made some profit. And another long trade there that worked out. One right here that looks like it probably would have stopped you out before you stopped to break even on that. You would have needed a higher swing before you could trade again, but once you got the higher swing, well, then you would have changed directions, and you would have needed it to change directions again and again. And over here, there was a long there. There was a long in here. There was a long there. Needed a higher swing after that. There was a long there. And that needed to put in a higher swing, so there's nothing after that. You see, there was a lot of opportunity if you drop down to a smaller time frame. When you don't have that much movement in price, you can always do that. You can always drop down to a smaller time frame if you want to. If you're going to trade just one market or 2 markets, no, Grant, we'll be here. As long as the markets are open, we'll be here on Monday. Okay. They stopped honoring that much, honoring the Veterans Day much at all. And I am a veteran. Okay, on the Russell. We ended up on the Russell. We took one trade right here. Our first trade, we ended up with +10 is what we got on that first trade. We got a +10 there, and then we got a -25 here. That put us at -15 overall. You can see during the break, there was a whole bunch of sideways movement right here. Not a lot happening there with the Russell today either. There was one trade here if you wanted to take it during the break right here for that leg down. And let's see, that was about it there. Now the ES, we had a few trades here on the ES, and we're doing well. We had a +4, then we had a +4, then we had a +2. No, we had a +4 and a +4 and a +4. So we had 3 +4s, got us to 12, and then we stopped out -10. That got us down to 2. It did put in a higher swing here, and during the break, it looks like it gave you one trading opportunity right here. And that was pretty much it. The ribbon not spread out very well in there. You could have taken that short if you wanted to, and it gave some decent profit. This is a 7 range, so it gave about 10 ticks into profit. It gave you this long trade right here, same thing, but it didn't put in a higher swing. So So that was what that looked like today. Looking here. Okay. All right, Dee, I just saw your message in there. And I am looking there. All right. So we have the NQ left to do. Yeah, I haven't seen anything yet. And I updated the page last night. So anything that comes through should have all of next week's info in it. All right, and this is the NQ. So today on the NQ, we started out with, I guess, yeah, we got 48 ticks on this one. That's right. It was our second trade of the morning. We got 48 ticks on this, and that put us up a total of 23 ticks because we had a minus 25 on the YM. And we got 48 on this, put us at plus 23, and that's where we got the goal for the day. The next trade right here, we got, it looks like 32 ticks. 32 ticks. That got us up to plus 80. Then we had a plus 12 that got us to 92. Then we had another plus 12 that got us to 104. Then we had another plus 12 that got us to 116. So 3 times I got 12 ticks, 3 times in a row. That's odd. I believe that's all we did this morning on the NQ. We ended up with 116 ticks. I think we actually had another trade in there that was a positive trade that I didn't keep track of. But there were some other trades in here that did trigger. Let's see, there was this one right here that didn't go anywhere. This one right here that gave the full 48. This one right here that didn't go anywhere. Didn't go anywhere again. So it was rough during the break here. It seems like the NQ had a rough time during the break. There was one right here. No, that's not a valid trade. Not there, not there, not there. The last one was right here. And it's currently working right now, putting in a higher swing. And that was it for the NQ today. We ended up with 116 ticks on the NQ. So back to the spreadsheet. If you're going to read the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. We made 116 on the NQ. We lost 15 on the Russell. We lost 47 on the YM, and we ended up making 2 on the ES. We're at 295 on the morning session. Took 6 minutes and 2 trades this morning to get to $1,265. And on the month now, we are at $2,100 with 1 contract, averaging $350 a day. On the year, we're at $102,470 with 1 contract, averaging $487 per day. And that is where we are on the day, the week, the month, the year, all that stuff. All right, so now we can get back in here. Well, for anybody that's coming on live right now in the YouTube channel, if you've not taken a free trial with us, go here to mytradingq.com, click on the purple button. It's going to bring you to this registration page. Just fill it out. Okay. If you don't have TradingView, get TradingView. You can go here to mytradingq.com, go to trading platforms, follow the instructions right here. If you get TradingView to trade futures, you're going to need to get real-time data. It's $7 a month, roughly. Okay, depends where you live. It's $7 plus tax, depending where you live. You're going to need to do that. No, I'm not doing anything with CQG. We have the CFRN indicator set here on TradingView, and we have it on NinjaTrader. Ken, I'm not planning on doing anything on CQG. You can get on the demo, but I would suggest getting TradingView charts. Okay. Yeah, I just looked at it during the break. I just looked at it again during the break, and yeah. Yeah, that's gonna add layers of complication. I'm suggesting find some. Let me show you this again, Ken. Since you brought it up, let me show this thing that I've shown a few times today. So these are the things that StoneX has. All right. So if you have your account at StoneX right now with DT Pro, these are the things that StoneX has. Multicharts, multicharts.net. That is what the new StoneX CQG thing that you're looking at is. That's basically that right there. It doesn't even list CQG in here as one of their things. But that's what they've done. They've worked it out so that that's what you're going to be using. And it's got the StoneX name at the top of it. We don't have our indicators there at this point. We did have our indicators on multicharts.net about 10 years ago. I don't even know what happened with that over the years. We had a few people that were using it, but we never really pushed it because we were very busy with everything else that we had. But these are the other things that they have. These are the other third-party platforms. Now, not all of those are going to be good for trading, but they all have their own way to place trades. Okay, well, not all, but most of them have their own way to place trades. And so I've been going through them trying to find the DOM that best suits me. Now, my needs for a DOM and your needs for a DOM and everybody else's needs for a DOM may be different. I like right now the Sierra chart the most. And I've actually opened accounts at a few of these places. Just because, you know, I was trying to get ahead of the curve and I didn't wait for StoneX to say, okay, well, you know, we're going to allow you to take a free trial at this place now. I just went and opened accounts at them. And so I've tested some of this stuff. I haven't tested any of it with live, but I plan to test the Sierra chart live as soon as they set me up with it. Yep. Here's the rest of it. Here, I can blow it up so you can see. TradeStation is what most eSignal. It was eSignal back then. TradeStation was a big one back then. Sierra Charts was the other big one back then. They didn't really have multi-charts. It was MetaTrader. MetaTrader was yeah. Graham, don't. I was gonna say, yeah, you don't know if you're missing it. Graham, answering your question, how would you load Sierra Chart DOM onto CQG? You just open up Sierra Chart and they have their own DOM. It's just like the DT Pro thing. You know, you open up DT Pro and you have your own DT Pro DOM. Sierra Chart runs the same way. Okay. No, Ken. Not exactly. But I'm just showing you all this stuff right now. So you can get TradingView charts, right? You can get TradingView charts pretty cheap, and that's where our stuff is right now. That's where all of our stuff is right now, and that's what I'm going to recommend you chart off of. You can have an account with any one of these places that you can trade at if you want to. The thing that they're going to give you for free, and they're going to give you a demo for free too, is that thing that they emailed out yesterday. They're going to give you a demo for free on that, and and you can get that for free. I know that, and that's the equivalent of the multicharts and multicharts.net, but it's got the StoneX white label on it. So that's, I mean, I know that's a big change, and I hate change, but I've been trying to deal with this since I found out about it, and that's why I've been trying to get ahead of the ball here and get ahead of the curve and trying all these different platforms to see which one suits me the best. And you know, if it suits me the best, I have a sense that you guys are probably gonna, the majority of the people that are watching me in the room are gonna want to probably do the same thing that I'm doing and use the same thing that I'm doing. Yeah, I don't like that thing either, Ken. But charting off of TradingView, just charting off TradingView is what I'm going to continue doing. That's not changing. I'm still going to chart off of TradingView. I'm just going to place my trades on a different DOM. All right, I won't be able to do it on this one anymore. I wish I could, but I can't after December. So that's a big change, and I got to get used to using a new DOM, and I got to, over the coming weeks, I'll probably slowly start transitioning into the Sierra chart thing. Bert's right now working on getting me a live account over there right now. So I'll be working on that as we keep moving forward. But we are moving forward, and that's, it's a disruption. But I'm thinking, my glass is always half full. So I'm thinking, though this sucks because I've been doing the same thing for over a decade, maybe I've been missing something for over a decade. There's like this. I know this is broke as far as moving the stop to break even. The strategy stuff in here, it does actually move the stop, but it doesn't put the right number at the stop all the time. And when I've been complaining about that for a couple of years now, and they kick that can down the road so far that they don't need to fix it anymore. And so I'm okay going to the next thing that does have something that doesn't, as far as I know, it's not broken like that, and it's going to work. So I will be able to set up a strategy that does actually bump the stop to break even automatically without me having to worry about it putting the right number of contracts on. Because when I was doing multiple contracts, there was a time, there were several times where it bumped it to break even. After going 10 ticks into profit, like on the line, it would bump it to break even, but I would be at 20 contracts down here in my original stop, and it bump it to break even and put 34 contracts on. And that's not right. And that was an issue. And so I had to stop doing that. But yeah, and I'm gonna, yeah, you can change all that. I was looking at that. You can change all that background color and all that stuff, I think. I don't know about that. Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah. And there's a lot to learn with that. And I'll do my best to learn that too, even if I'm not going to use it. So I'll be able to help all you guys that are going to go with that because it's free. I'll do my best to learn it all so I can help guide you through the initial steps of it anyway. I know the Sierra chart stuff, that was something that Graham, you had asked a few minutes ago, loading the Sierra chart thing. that is, it's not intuitive in any way at all. It's not. There are just a whole bunch of steps to do a simple process. But what I will do, Graham, is I'll send you I'll actually stick it in here. I think I got it out here on my in Telegram. I think I put it out here in Telegram in my channel. A video that you should take a look at. For all you guys that are thinking about doing the Sierra chart thing, this is it's just for the Sierra chart thing. And where did I put that? Here it is right here. Here's the link. Yeah, you just need to get it DOM up and running. So you can, right now, I know where you are in your climb of Trader Mountain right now. That link that I just put in there is kind of a start to finish of Sierra chart and how to set up Sierra charts and set up the DOMs and set up a chart for Sierra charts. The guy goes into a whole bunch of things that you probably don't need to go into a bunch of detail, but that is how to do it for Sierra charts, and that's probably what I'm going to end up using. And at some point, since we're only using this indicator and this indicator, I might just create those for multi-charts and for Sierra chart. That way, well, for the StoneX version of multi-charts, the StoneX Trader or whatever it is.
What's that link you just put in the chat?
That is how to use Sierra chart, how to set up Sierra chart from the beginning.
Okay.
But that's not how to actually sign up for Sierra Chart. To sign up for Sierra Chart, you have to go through all the hoops for that too.
Yeah.
And don't go straight to Sierra Chart. Have Bert send you a link, because StoneX has their thing. You can enable Sierra Chart through StoneX and do it all that way.
I'm gonna see if
I did all that.
I'm gonna try to make CQG work for me.
Yeah, no,
if I can.
I recommend, if you can, then do that. That's not going to work for me, but it might work for everybody else.
Okay.
So
yeah, if I do figure it out, guys, I'll hold a class or a webinar or something for members and show you what I've figured out and how I've set things up, and then you can make your own decisions, whatever's best for you.
Yes, that's. I was going to try to learn the CKG stuff too, just so I can help you guys. All right. Well, let's see. We didn't have many trades. Trades that were triggering here anyway, so it's good that we had this time to actually get this all out in the open. The Bitcoin, I thought Bitcoin had a new high again today. No, it did not have a new high over yesterday's high, but it's still moving up today. But it was not a high over yesterday's high. If you go out one more here, we have gold.
Tesla hit the $1 trillion mark today. 1 trillion market cap.
Wow. In 2017, we were looking at that. We'd only just thrown down $1,000 at it back then.
Yeah.
Anyway, on the YM right now, this is just plain TV trades. YM 19 range. It only had a couple.
It finally woke up a little bit this morning, but it was kind of short-lived. Yeah.
Came to life just a tiny bit. And this one, I thought I was looking at this last night. The Tesla 30-minute chart. I don't know why I was looking at that last night, but we were looking at it in the room. In the partners meeting last night, I think.
Yeah, look at that huge gap.
Yep, big gap right there. It'll fill that eventually.
Let's see, where's the 8th? You're on a 30-minute chart. Where's the 8th start? Right there?
Right here.
So that's how much we're up this session.
Yeah, this session. It started right here. It didn't gap up. It started here at 299. So it's run just about 10% today. And I don't know why, but I don't have to know.
Well, because Elon is probably going to be part of the cabinet or have some kind of.
I would think so.
They say he's going to clean house. He's going to cut something like $1 trillion from the government payroll. I think I read in one article. He's kind of like he did with Twitter. He just went in and basically got rid of, I think, about 70% of the employees because you're all just redundant. We don't need all these people to do this job.
Twitter's still running.
It's still running.
Yeah. There was a hiccup in the beginning, but it's over. The hiccup's gone,
yep.
And Twitter's still running. And the government, how many jobs did they add with Biden? Just this past year.
Unbelievable.
It's sickening.
Now they're rushing to close oil drilling in Alaska forever and send as much money to Ukraine as they can while they still have the power to do so. And I just don't know if there's anything Trump can do to block that.
I don't know. But, well, we'll see how the world changes here. There's going to be significant changing coming up here, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we will.
And a lot of people aren't going to be happy with a lot of people won't be happy with the changes. We know from the past that, all candidates make promises when they campaign. But they don't all try to keep their promises. Trump does. He tried to keep every promise he made. But they stopped him at the wall. All he asked for was a lousy $5 billion. And here they are sending hundreds of billions of dollars to defend Ukraine's border. And they couldn't give him $5 billion to shore up our southern border. That's just insanity. But
I think all that's going to change. So I was telling Jake, he's going to be finished with his welding school and all that. And I told him when it was starting, when he started going into that when he was in high school, I said, if you go into this and Trump ends up being president again, the pipeline's going to open up and they're going to need a ton of guys and they're going to pay a ton of money for people with those skills.
Oh, remember when we were younger, everybody was going to work on the Alaska pipeline? Or is that
There's just a little age gap between you and the
okay?
younger.
Yeah, there is. Okay, but I know there's people in the audience. Remember when? I mean, you could go. This is like back in the '70s. You could go work on the Alaska pipeline and make like $50 an hour back
Yeah, that was back then. That was
way
a ton of
back
money.
then. That's like
I mean, now it'd be
500
like,
and that's like 500 an hour now.
yeah, and that's what I was telling Jake. I said, right now you have the skills that are going to be needed. It's going to be in great demand here pretty soon. He was telling me yesterday, he came home, he was all excited yesterday because he has a friend that he works with right now that just got hired on as a foreman at another job. And the timing is just perfect because he's going to be able to take Jake over there with him. And he's already making good money right now, but he get like a 50% pay increase to go over there with the other guy
Nice.
in a month. And that's, it's all coming together. Really, it seems like pretty nicely. So, I want him to have a 6-figure income by the time he was 25. That's what I wanted for him, and it looks like it'll probably happen. No, all right. So we don't have anything here right now. We don't have a trend anywhere. So we don't have any trades.
Little D's making 1,200 a week. He got a
Is he?
job with some kind
Sweet.
of marketing firm. Yeah, and he's
Sweet.
about to get a promotion.
And didn't he get a scholarship for school and everything too?
Yep.
Didn't he get offered a whole bunch
Yep.
of scholarships?
Yeah, he's still going to school. He's only taking like a couple classes. He's focusing mostly on the job, but I hear him in his room working on the couple classes that he's taking.
Good.
He goes,
Good.
Grandpa, do you realize I could have like a 6-figure job by the time I'm 21? I go, it's the American dream, brother.
It is. It is. All right. Yes. You have a great weekend too, Ken.
Have a good weekend, Ken.
We are gonna, as far as this transitioning from one thing to the next, I'm probably not going to use the CQG thing, but I will try to learn it so I'll be able to help you guys with it and show you stuff when you have questions, because I know you guys are going to have a ton of questions.
Yep.
That seems like it's going to be the easiest way to go for people. You can just transition right into that, but it's not going to work for me the way that I trade. But I'll do my best to learn how to use it, and so I can walk through things with you guys when you have questions. Okay.
I'm gonna start fiddling with it this weekend. I've already got it. I've already got my login, and I've already logged in and looked at it, and it scared me, so I closed it.
Yeah, I logged in during the break. And looked at it, and it's a 28-day trial that we have right now. And because we have accounts there, then it's actually forever trial.
Yeah. Oh, and I guess Bert said this in the room this morning, but remember how you used to have to maintain a minimum $2,000 or $3,000
$2,500
balance?
or something like that. Yeah.
Now, if you can have $100 in trade, like a micro.
Yeah. They changed. They've been working to change all that to get it more in line with
Forex,
the marketplace. And
because with Forex, you could always, as long as I remember, you could fund your Forex account with a credit card, and you could open an account with like $100, and it would be gone tomorrow. But that's another story.
All right. Well, it's 1:30, so I gotta wrap it up. I didn't take a single trade in here today. We just didn't have anything.
All right.
It's okay. It's my birthday. We're gonna go spend the rest of the afternoon somewhere else. I don't know where yet, but I know Jade's got something in store for me. So I'll pass it back out to you at Fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, Studio A, looking over South Mountain, America's largest city park.
Recap of the morning session.
Today it took 6 minutes and 2 trades to get to $1,265.
Great way to end the week.
It is indeed. All right. You all have a great weekend, and I will talk to you all. If I don't talk to you over the weekend, I will talk to you on Monday.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay, guys, we already made it through all the markets, so we'll take one last look here at the daily. 6027. And so, yeah, that hasn't changed. This line is 2 ticks. And on a daily chart, if you can get any closer than that, then it's just luck. So, if you are ready to become a member, send an email to support@cfrn.net. And the subject line, all you got to say is, I want to become a member. Hit send. Valerie will get your email. She will send you an email back with some information and a link to become a passport holder. Once you do that, she'll then send you a couple of emails with a lot of information. Some of it you won't even understand. Just archive them, put them in a folder somewhere, because as you begin your training, okay, and your learning process, then you'll have, when somebody says do this or do that, you'll go, oh yeah, that's what that is. Okay, yeah, Valerie already sent me that. Okay. Now, if you lose the email, we'll send it again, but it's just good for you. You know, if it's on a weekend or something and you need that information. Oh, wait, what's this? Just in, leak reveals BlackRock is quietly doubling down on Bitcoin as the price suddenly rockets toward 100,000. Well, we just looked at it. It's not at 100,000. I guess it's heading that way. Anyway, I'll push this over to the Breeze channel for anybody that wants to read the complete article. Okay. All right. Where was I? Become a member. Just go to email support@cfrn.net. In the subject line, say I want to become a member. Everything else will take care of itself. Once you become a passport holder, you'll look taller. Your hair will grow back. Your waistline will shrink. Just kidding. But you will get 2 hours of live training every trading day. Something 9 out of 10 new traders don't have. Oh, they got indicators. They got oscillators. Man, they got algorithms. Some of them may even have spaceships. I don't know. But what you need is a teacher. Somebody who will actually teach you how to trade. 2 hours of group training every day, plus private one-on-one mentoring at no extra charge. The strategy you learn and the indicators that you own as a passport holder are fluid across all markets, all time frames. Futures, stocks, crypto, Forex, ETF. Doesn't matter. Why? Because price flows the same across all markets and all time frames. From support, resistance, back to support, back to resistance, over and over, again and again. It's a never-ending cycle. Why don't the other people tell you that? Because they got a million different things to say. To solve problems that don't even really exist. We got the passport. Take it or not. I mean, it's up to you. Ball's in your court. Just ask yourself, how much time and treasure have I spent trying to become a consistently profitable trader? And you might ask yourself this question: how much time and treasure do I have left? Then become a member. You'll also get the Logic 247 alerts around the clock. You get the concierge trade alerts every evening when they're published. You'll get the weekly trading zones every Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. And you'll be able to attend the members only workshop every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. And you'll get the golden key that opens all the private channels in Telegram. Like we have a vault where hundreds of previous members only workshops are archived. Do you need to watch them all? No. But just knowing that you have all that information It's pretty cool. And you get around-the-clock support via Telegram. It's everything a trader needs, all under one roof, one low price. I dare say there are people in this audience today who lost more money in the market today than it cost to become a passport holder. It's a sad state of affairs, but it's just the truth. So, yesterday, our good word for the day and the day before was, what are your values? It was a two-parter. Today, we're going to talk about integrity, part one. He who walks with integrity walks securely, but he who perverts his ways will become known. Proverbs 10:9. What would you say is the single most important characteristic of a person who wants to be successful and make a difference in the world? Some would say intelligence. After all, knowledge is power in numerous ways. Others argue it is intensity, that spirit of conquest supplemented with a passion that becomes contagious. Yet others propose that it is insight, good old common sense accompanied by the ability to clearly perceive certain issues. Well, the Bible says the most important quality in success is integrity. He who walks with integrity walks securely, but he who perverts his ways will become known. You will eventually become known for your integrity or the lack of it. We have all known people along life's roads who possess extraordinary intelligence but no integrity, and they're no longer in the race. Others with great intensity and passion but little integrity have ended up the same way. The same result is true of people with great insight but no integrity. The thesaurus equates integrity with such words as honesty, completeness, and incorruptibility. Integrity begins in your private world, the part of you that's known only to God and yourself. Then it shows up in your personal world, the part of you that you reveal to a small circle of intimate family members and possibly a few friends. After that comes your professional world. Here people know you by your product, your work ethic, or your skill set. And they all ask the same question: can I trust you? Finally, your integrity shows up in your public world. So here's the question: do you have integrity? And we'll continue this on Monday with integrity, part 2. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.